Good evening and welcome to round 9 of the ASR Development Series from Sydney Motorsport Park. Yes, that is right. We have had some quite major changes to the scheduling in ASR due to some unforeseen circumstances with broadcasting for Enduro Cup and some real life stuff. So I've had to shuffle it around. Sydney was billed to be I believe the final round or the second last round of the championship, and of course now it is the current round 9 instead. I don't have an updated calendar graphic for you, but I think I'll be able to find on the Discord the updated calendar for that. But anyway, tonight, Sydney Motorsport Park, of course, tonight, joining me in the commentary box is, of course, NZ Snipes, aka Kane Gray. Snipes, how's it going?
Not too bad, Lewis. Not too bad at all. It's a reasonable sized grid tonight. We've got a few absences, but still over 20 cars lining up for the evening. So I'm expecting some reasonable racing. The top seven, at least in this practice session, separated by about a second, and the top two less than a tenth. So I'm expecting some close battles.
Yeah, it's quite weird. You've got sort of 3.8 really between the top 19. Bottom two haven't really set representative times yet, but which one would consider that to be actually quite small for the entire of the Dev Series field, especially around a circuit like this. But there does appear to be some quite large gaps between some front runners, Lockie Lock, Bailey Hall, and even Steve Warwick just ahead, and Zach Brown just ahead of sort of the next group of cars, with Darren Kemp about 8 tenths away, and then got a couple within the 1 second range, and then again a couple tenths back to the next sort of group of cars. So it will be interesting. There will be a little bit of pack racing going on, but I think with this circuit here tonight, Snipes, so I might as well bring it up on our screens here. It looks fairly simple when you're
Yep.
looking at it from a track map, but it's anything but when you add, 1400 kilo car with six, 700 horsepowers and not too much downforce.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very undulated circuit. It goes up and down a lot. The corners, there's actually not an easy corner, I think, on this track. There's some weird braking zones, particularly down into the hairpin at turn 8, that can be really quite tricky downhill braking. Turn 910 is quite difficult on the brakes as well, and it's also a very flowy circuit as well, particularly the from turns 1 through to 5, 6, you're really flowing the car, waiting for the weight to transfer to the right part before you can get on the power. There's not a lot of full beans throttle throughout there, apart from the small straights, obviously, between the corners.
Yeah, and you do have to compromise your lines through a couple exits to sort of set yourself up for the next corner. So I'm thinking exit at turn 2, once the tyres start to get a little bit worn out, you do sort of have to compromise the exit to sort of set up the line through turn 3. And the same with the exit at turn 4, you've got to set it up so you're not too wide for turn 5 there. And even later on, when you've got some worn tyres, turn 7 can be a bit tricky, and you may have to just feather that throttle just a little bit to make sure you can get to the left-hand side before turn 8. And then, of course, as you mentioned, turn 9 and 10, even with fresh tyres, it's very, very difficult in any car, let alone a supercar, which doesn't have the best brake package in Pixel Sport or in Motorsport. So it will be interesting. Hard tyre round is this one as well. So the drivers are having to struggle just a little bit out there on the lesser of the grippy tyres, but of course that means these tyres should be able to last the race distance. But well, we will see. But I do expect there to be some close gaps and good racing, but at the same time, I also do expect to see some quite large field spread, as it is a very tricky circuit to remain consistent at. And as you mentioned as well, there, Snipes, flow this circuit does have, and it is something. Once you do a little bit of practice, if you can get that flow going, you're in good stead. Even if your lap times aren't the fastest, it will help being nice and consistent around here.
Yeah, absolutely. It can be a very satisfying track to drive when you're driving it right, when you've got the feel of the car and you're really feeling how the weight is transferring. It can be beautiful to drive. You're right there. You've got to compromise exits of some corners like 2, 3, 2 to get a good run out of 3 sometimes. So it's quite tricky in that regard. But there's also the overtaking spots, therefore, on this track can be quite interesting and hard. Obviously, the main spot you'd think is obviously into two. It's your hard braking zone, but that comes right after quite a fast turn one, where you're still going to have to dab the brakes a little bit, shed a few k's just to get around turn one. But other than that, it's full noise back on the brakes. So your run is quite compromised by your ability to turn one. So it's really intriguing. Other than that, turn six and eight, you'll find people maybe pulling moves. Those are probably the other ideal passing spots, I'd say, on the circuit. You can get alongside in a lot of spots, but just how the track curves and yeah, goes up and down hills makes it very, very difficult to pull moves off side by side.
Yeah, it certainly does make it interesting. And as you mentioned, turn two, you'd look at it and go, yeah, that's probably where you're going to get moves done. But I've found it can be quite difficult if the driver in front does defend into turn two. You're sort of having to set up a move into turn four. We've seen passing there in real life and in the sim. And even if you can sort of hold on, we'll set it up. Turn five, you can pass there, and turn six. Turn seven, you don't see too much, and it's pretty easy if a driver in front is willing to, go chalk to chalk. They'll make it difficult into eight, but you can pass an eight. And then if you're really ballsy, you can try it into turn 10, trying to hold on around the outside or on the inside of turn 9 and 10 there. But there are places to pass around here, but yeah, it can be difficult if the driver in front isn't willing to give up that position. Anyway, that is, let's see, brief look at the track. Just seeing if we're going to tick over to the qualifying session. Driver's briefing should have just been finished. I'm seeing in the live chat there, Rossi96, of course, Brendan Ross, saying that people are very chatty in the driver's briefing, which isn't always ideal. Certainly pet peeve of mine, but hopefully the admin team are able to sort them all out, as unfortunately Steve Rokes actually just dropped from the server as we've ticked over to qualifying, and that's not ideal because he he had quite a bit of pace around here looking at our live races time. So of course, if you do want to check out live timing, check out asrleague.liveraces.com and then check out the live server up at the moment. And he'd set the third fastest overall time in the serves that have been put up throughout the week, and he'll be quite frustrated to have once again been struck down by some bad luck. As actually, no, the session will be restarted, so it looks like Steve will be jumping in. So slight delay here, but we should be getting qualifying underway within the next 5 minutes, one would hope.
So pretty good. The admin team's pretty good at sorting these things out, so I'd say it shouldn't be too long, provided everyone can connect, provided Automobilista does not do those famed Automobilista things. We should be underway pretty soon. It's going to be interesting racing at the front there. I think Lewis, I think Bailey Hall throughout the week, he's obviously set the fastest time throughout the week, and Lockie Lock hot on his heels. So those two are going to have an interesting duel, I think, in qualifying for pole position. Other drivers certainly have the ability to put in a quick lap, but I'm not sure if they're just going to have the outright pace of those top two.
Yeah, certainly going to be an interesting night. Even though we do have obviously those guys that have set some really good times, still wouldn't rule out a dark horse winner around this circuit. Very easy to make a mistake. Hard tyres, which make it even easier to make a mistake once they do wear out a little bit. And then you've got inexperienced drivers just going for it. So you never know with tonight's racing, or in Dev Series, how the racing's going to unfold. There's been times we think, it's this circuit. It's going to be, I wouldn't say pedestrian. It never really is. But, it'll be less action-packed. And then it turns out you've got crazy racing all over the place. So it will be interesting to see how the drivers handle it and do attack the circuit. We may see drivers take, at least the race anyway, a little bit more conservative and just try to get through it without mistakes instead of pushing it 10/10 the entire time. But I don't imagine actually that would be the case, knowing the drivers in the field and their experience.
Yes, sometimes just sending it is the way of the development driver, isn't it? But I mean, hey, we're all here to learn. We're all improving all the time and whatnot. But nevertheless, yeah, I think your strategy in this is you're right there. But being full balls to the wall is not necessarily the go. I mean, if you can and you can keep it all in check, then great. But it does obviously offer more risk if you've got good pace and you can drive at good pace with 9/10 of your pace for a whole race. That is fantastic. That will set you up really well. And noting that these are progressive grids, you've got to consider where you'll finish is where you'll start the next race too, and how easy do you want to make the next race for yourself.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Is it particularly in the first race? It's going to be important for these guys to set their night up. You're not going to want to put yourself in a position where you're having to fight back around a circuit that is, you can pass around here, but at the same time, like if you wanted to get back into the race, you're going to lose a lot of time passing people from the back of the field with the massive amount of field spread. But anyway, qualifying is just about, well, it has gotten underway, and we do have our drivers now heading out onto the circuit. I know it's not on your screen. I'm just trying to find the right driver to bring up the screen. And there we are. So Reese McGillivray, the first man out on the circuit, with Nathan Higginson beaten out on the circuit for once this time. And then we have...
I'm sorry to cut you off here, Lewis, but I'm going to bet that Nathan Higginson's not going to want to sit behind Reese McGillivray for this whole outlap. Carry on.
Well, we did see in the last round that Reese isn't exactly slow. He's a fairly competitive Super 3 driver. And of course, the Brock Feeney boost car from the 2021 Super 2 season is Ryan Smith. Believe this is his first round, or maybe his second. I can't remember off the top of my head, as we see Higginson get by McGillivray. So he'll be the first man to attempt a lap. With looks like Ryan Smith has also got by McGillivray. As Higginson's locked up already. He hasn't even started his lap yet. One thing that I've just noticed as well with the server restart here, Snipes, is it looks like the track is completely green, or it's on very light rubber here. So even less grip for these drivers.
Look, that's tough. This is going to be tough because the drivers are going to be quite used to where the grip kind of was at during that practice session. They're going to be feeling it out again as we see Nathan Higginson go wide immediately through turn one. He's going to press on though, as you damn well should, to just set a lap, get yourself a banker, even if it's horrible, get a time on the board.
Albeit actually looking at the circuit now, it does take a lap sometimes to update. So I do believe it may actually have track grip. It's just it took a little bit for the server or for the game to sort of load the server settings. So the arm marbles out on the circuit, as you can see on the screen, and just being confirmed there by Rossi that it is indeed Ryan Smith's first event here in the Dev Series.
Lewis, I got some first sector times coming in. At this point in time, Lockie Lock set at the purple first sector with the 28.5. No one else really towards that bar cheese with the 28.7, and Zach Brown, a few 28.7s throughout there. So, so far, Lockie Lock the quickest.
Yeah, so looking the goods. It was second fastest overall throughout all the practice sessions during the week. And Higginson now, infamous wobble from him, and towards the line he goes. And it's going to be a 31.5, which is, well, it's a banker. He'll want to improve on it though. As you see, Ryan Smith looks like he's had a little bit of spin in the final corner. So you see now all the drivers now heading towards the line. Lockie Lock to the top on a 30.4. Zach Brown a 30 point, is that 8 or 9 there?
9 there. 30.976 for Zach Brown. Time starting to come in thick and fast. Bailey Hall set his first lap. It's a 32.0. So he's obviously not had a very good first one there.
Right, Nathan Higginson up 3/10 on his own time, but he's run wide on the exit of what's that, turn 5 there. And using all the road and a little bit more, and the grass on the other side for good measure as well. So he's trying hard. but may just be trying a little bit too hard out there, trying to find that extra bit of time.
Yeah, it's important to get a good balance of aggression and safety, I suppose. It looks like he's aborted this lap, and he's possibly going to just cool his tyres and try go for another run. There's 5 minutes left in the session, so you probably want to at some point whip on a new set of boots.
And we got Darren Kemp, who's actually set a very competitive first sector, 28.3. I did notice in practice, actually, towards the end, when I jumped in, that he's actually setting some really good first sector times, but always kept coming across someone in the second or third sectors to cost him time. And he's up 9 tenths on his own time, about 10th, almost 2 tenths away in the second split, but this should move him up a couple of positions here if you can just put it together through these final couple turns. A little bit of a slide on the final corner, but look neat and tidy enough. So he should improve and move up at least 2 positions, I'd say.
I see coming across the line here, goes up to third. So yes, a good lap there from Darren. That'll be good to get that out with a 30.8. So a reasonably competitive time.
Yeah, he'll be happy with that. Solid banker, and if he doesn't improve still, it's still a decent position to put himself in at the start of this one.
That's actually his personal best, Lewis. That's his personal best throughout the week. So good time to be posting it.
Yeah, it is the time you want to be pulling out your PBs, is during the qualifying session and not during the first night of practice, which I've done many times throughout my sim racing lifetime. And then for the next week or 2 weeks, you're out there chasing that time and you can't figure out why you can't get close to that time.
It's disastrous. It really wrecks your morale before a race too. If you just can't get near it, It's the old pushing too hard in practice can come back to bite you. It's definitely good to know. But
and got Zach Brown. He's also he set purple in the first sector. His middle sector, he's lost time, but he is within striking distance of Lockie Lock, and he's certainly within striking distance of getting himself onto the front row. The top 3 separated by less than a tenth, and Steve Warwick is only half a tenth away from Zach Brown himself. So very tight from second on down to 7th. And Zach Brown does improve, and he goes to second place, 1 minute 30.6 for him. And now we've got Bailey Hall, purple in the first sector himself, as we've got Cheese gone slowly on the grass in the infield there. But problem for Bailey here is he's got a little bit of traffic in front of him with Steve Warwick, but shouldn't be too much of a hindrance, as he's 3.5 tenths up on Lockie Lock here.
yeah, he's gone purple to both sectors at this point in time. 28.2 first sector, 36.6 second sector. So he's looking on here to go to the top spot.
And he should do it. He's had a clean last 2 turns, and there it is, 29.7. And speaking of personal best, that's a personal best for Bailey Hall, who'd already been the fastest throughout the week. And he lowers the benchmark and goes comfortably 7 tenths clear of the rest of the field. I would reckon he could park it up in the garage and just relax for the rest of qualifying, I think.
Yeah. You probably could. That's an absolute stonking lap from Bailey Hall there. 3 purple sectors, fastest on track, and the fastest all week from anyone by a fair margin.
He's going again here, and he's up, as we see. That's Brian Walsh that's wide. He's right behind Steve Warwick, but Steve Warwick's also on a lap, so you might have your headlights on, young Bailey, but Steve doesn't have to get out of the way.
Yeah. Steve has every right to be qualifying his car into the best position he possibly can here as well. It's unfortunate, but this is why you place your car in a position where hopefully you don't catch up to traffic. But I mean, look, yeah, he can park up. He's put in a great lap. They're going to go side by side, are they?
He's actually improved as well on his own time. And Steve does get out of the way. I mean, if I was Steve, I probably would have just parked it there and just said, well, too bad, son. You don't need to go any faster. It will be interesting to see if he actually does improve on this time or if he doesn't. See, Steve did leave it to the last minute to get out of the way there before I think that's turned 10 or 11 down there. Doesn't improve, but still, that second lap of his, third lap I should say, faster than the rest of the field anyway. So, yeah, he doesn't really need to set a lap. Now it's all about the order from second on down. where we've had Cheese make an improvement. He goes to position 4. Now, what is important here, we haven't spoken about it as yet, Snipes, is the championship. And that's important for Cheese as well as Lucky Lock, both ahead of Nathan Higginson. We've seen Ayrton Filippi. He's jumped up to P2, so he's pulled a lap out of the bag. And he goes to P2. It's the best run he's had all season.
Yeah, that's a fantastic lap. That's the third fastest lap all week as well, which is just a phenomenal effort from the young lad.
Yep. So, still 30 seconds to hold on for him, but I would imagine he's probably, at worst, he'll start maybe 4th. I can't see too many other drivers really making that much of an improvement there. So, good lap from Filippi. Had a bit of bad luck this season. Some of it his fault, some of it not. But he'll be hoping for a nice, clean run tonight. And just trying to have a look around here, Snipes. Can't really find too many people improving at the moment.
Yeah, look, not too many green laps going on right now. I think Darren Kemp maybe on a slight improve through the first sector. So we'll see how he goes as he comes up to the second sector marker here. Obviously, difficult braking zone right here to get right. Can be very easy to go deep. Really incredibly easy. He's hugged the apex. See with his screen.
And
he is not.
He's not up on his own time. He's quite close to it. But with only there being, 2-3 corners in this final sector, pretty difficult to make up 2/10.
It looks like he's run a bit wide there too. Might have been a bit late on the power, so look, he's going to go push for it. If he can find just a couple of hundredths, he will move up on the grid. So
he did find it, but not enough. We did have Lockie Lock actually improve on his final lap, and he moves up onto the front row. Again, important for the championship. Nathan Higginson currently sitting in 9th, and we've got Cheese. He's parked out there at the moment. But Nathan Higginson in the garage as well. He's going to start in P9. So, tough night for him. He's had a couple tough rounds in a row. And, he may surrender the championship lead here if he can't find a little bit of race pace here, starting in P9. But, of course, 3 races where, all you got to do is just keep it clean.
For sure, look, that's the main thing. If you can keep it clean, like they're only 40-kilometer races, but they are going to be hard races. These sprints will keep the field reasonably bunched. Safety cars are on, and one may pop out. And yeah, the hard tyres really throw a bit of a spanner into a lot of the drivers' works. I mean, I'm sure some of them have had limited experience on the tyre, and it would be difficult to keep them in check. So I will expect some incidents throughout. Lap 1 is always going to be very interesting.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see how it all plays out. We will see Bailey Hall start from the front row. Man on screen, Lockie Lock will join him on the front row. But with qualifying session being over, we'll take a short break. But of course, we'll be back for race 1 from Sydney Motorsport Park. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back to Sydney Motorsport Park. We've just had the qualifying session where Bailey Hall has put it on pole. Lockie Lock joining alongside him on the front row. Minute and a half left here in the warm-up session. And I guess we've got a little bit of time now to go over the championship standings here. And before we get into race one, we might as well just knock that off. Probably won't have time to get into the team standings, but at least the top 10 here. And as you can see, 18 points separating Lockie Lock and Nathan Higginson. Higginson, of course, just in the lead. He did have a massive championship lead earlier on in the season, but numerous mistakes and issues have seen that gap of, I think it was almost a complete clean sweep of a round has come down to, as you can see, 18 points. Lockie Lock, I think he's even led at some point as well for at least a race or two. So 18 points there, and then Cheese as well. He's not too far away. They're the only probably realistic drivers at a realistic shot of the title. I think Darren Kemp just a little bit too far back, Snipes, but 173 points separating the top three. Who do you see at this point in the season being in the box seat?
Oh, look, probably Lockie Lock. I feel he's had one or two average rounds, but largely his form has been very consistent for most of the season. Tonight he's basically put it on the front row. He's putting it on the front row most weekends and largely driving clean, hard, and pretty fast races. I would put him, especially noting qualifying, in the box seat to take out the championship if I was a betting man. But Cheese is a dark horse. If he can put in the practice, he's definitely got the pace to be able to challenge. So I think right now it's all to lose for Lockie Lock, really, though. If he can just drive consistently, he can win this.
Yeah, even those 18 points behind, he's been, I think, pace-wise throughout the year, he's definitely had a little bit of a pace advantage for the most part over Higginson. Higginson has had rounds where he's been untouchable, but at the same time, he's had untouchable pace rounds and then just thrown it off the road. So that's why we see that points gap so close. And Cheese, he's been one that's didn't start the season, flying, but as the season's gone on, he's been more consistent and he's been able to score more and more points without making too many mistakes. So that's why he finds himself as a bit of a smoky. Those three, the realistic drivers for the title. Darren Kemp will need a lot of luck from here, but he's been someone that's been quietly going about their business the second half of the year. With Justin Cecil, not the fastest out there, but he's been pretty consistent, able to bring home points in pretty much every race. That's why he's fifth. Steve Warwick a bit unlucky there in sixth. He's had some good pace and some bad luck, so that's why he's sixth instead of probably battling Darren Kemp there. Luke Yeager, he's another one that's improved as the season has gone on. Another quiet achiever. Taipan in eighth. Ben Hall, of course, led the way early on before dropping out of the series. And Matt Cecil just sneaking into the top 10. All right, well, with that sort of gone over the top 10 in the championship standings, you did hear the sirens in the background, and that means one thing. We're going racing here. 11 laps, 25 minutes. I've had safety cars, I'm pretty sure, every round except for maybe one. Will we see one tonight is the big question. It's a larger circuit, but these drivers, you just never know. Anyway, Snipes, I won't hold you up any longer. Why don't you run us through the grid for race number one?
Thank you very much, Lewis. All right, outpole a fantastic lap. He certainly could have just parked it straight afterwards. Bailey Hall, he's showing a lot of pace, will be hard to catch. Starting alongside him on the front row, Lachlan Locke. He's driven fantastically all season, and I think he's really in a box seat for a good finish if he can keep it clean. An excellent result out of P3 for Ayrton Filippi. I think, as you said, Lewis, probably his best qualifying effort so far. Zach Brown starting alongside him out of P4. He's been on a resurgence at the back end of the season. Cheese starting out of P5 in a good position to get some good points if he can keep it clean. Justin Cecil starting alongside him out of 6th. In P7 we have Darren Kemp with Steve Warwick alongside him. P9, our championship leader, Nathan Higginson, further down the hill, going to be for sure. And Reese McGillivray, and I believe a second round here, rounding out the top 10 and leading the Super 3 class. Taipan in P11 with Brandon Dostal alongside him. Ryan Smith on debut tonight, qualifying in 13th. Good effort from Ryan Smith. He will be in Super 3, I believe. And Darren Loughlin alongside him in P14. In P15, we have Matt Cecil, followed by Christian Shadow out of P16. Hayden Cuppert for Starrett Sim Sports, starting this one out of P17, and alongside him, Benjamin Rody Rhodes. Brian Walsh, the legend of ASR himself, starting out of P19 in that excellent play route. Melody Smith will start alongside him, and rounding out the grid at P21, we have Laszlo Tiglis. We're ready to get going now, Lewis.
Yeah, big, nice long circuit for you to not rush through the grid, which is always helpful. Alright, so we'll just zoom out. We are waiting for all the drivers to form up on the grid. Some drivers disappearing and reappearing due to the graphics setting I've set up. I might have to change that between races. But looks like everybody formed up. Lights are on. Who gets the jump? And Lockie Lock was able to get the first jump. Does he get the good jump? And, well, he doesn't. And it will be Bailey Hall leading into turn 1. Felipe and Zach Brown side by side with Cheese and Onlooker. And up the inside, Lockie Lock having a look. But not quite close enough to make a move. And I'm definitely going to have to change these graphic settings. Looks like I don't know if that's lag or just Steve wobbling off the road there. But he's side by side with McGillivray. Or P9 here.
A lot of side-by-side action early on in this race as cars all kind of jostle for position. Nathan Higginson's moved his way up to P6 in the first few corners, and he's looking to make a move on Cheese. He's locked it up down the inside, but they've avoided touching. They are teammates in a sense here, but they're also very much rivals here, racing for this championship together.
Oh, and Felipe's ran wide in front of them. And he and Zach Brown are going to
it pretty well.
But it's gone side by side. They've gone 3 wide with Darren Kemp, Nathan Higginson, and Cheese. And they're still out at Cheese and Higginson here. Higginson need to move his way forward, and Cheese on his way back here. He's ruling in place with that final corner as well. Oh, and there's contact between Kemp and Cheese. And those graphic settings really are annoying me now as we see cars disappearing and reappearing. And if that little bit of contact has stopped the run Darren Kemp had coming out of the final corner, it's cost him position to Justin Cecil now. So Cecil back to where he started. This is Darren Kemp. And Kemp now back up the inside at 2. Steve Warwick going to try and follow through. And it looks like Matt Cecil and Brandon Dostal battling out as well in the background. But we've got Zach Brown and Nathan Higginson duking it out here for 4th, with Felipe able to hold on to P3. And Cheese now getting involved once again.
Yes, we've seen here, Lewis, the front two have started to really run away from it, but yeah, behind them, the pack is definitely battling, jostling for position, looking hard here. Cheese trying to get up back to Higo trying to get up back of Zach Brown. Zach Brown a bit wide there, down and towards the hairpin. It's going to compromise him a bit. Higo, Zach Brown brakes really well, to be fair. I thought Higo was a bit later on the brakes.
Almost looped it. I don't know if there was netcode or what, but I think he just got on the power just a little bit too early there. And that's given Felipe a bit of a free kick, and it's balked Higginson here. So, what has happened to Cheese? I did see him sort of thought I saw him. He's DNF, so he may have had some internet drama there. He just dropped and disappeared.
Yeah, he's looking at the menu right now. So yes, he's had a drop. It's really unfortunate. As we look here towards the battle, they've got Higginson side by side with Zach Brown into turn 1. It's tough to go side by side through there, and Higginson probably smartly pulls out of it, tucks in, tries to set up a move into 2, goes down the inside, not committed enough on the brakes, or maybe committed the right amount as Zach Brown goes deep, too deep, and he loses the spot there to Higginson. So very well done. Higginson parks his car right in front of him, and now ranging up behind them. Darren Kemp closing in on this battle as well.
Yeah, just a bit of overdriving there from Zach Brown was all that Higginson needed. And it's, Felipe's lost the rear. He's in the wall on the inside. He's going to have to watch his rejoin here, and he comes straight back onto the racing line. He's been dinged from that in the past. And, he probably should have avoided trying to get on the racing line if he could. But he does rejoin in 9th now, but as you can see, a bit of front-end damage on the left-hand side there. After being in a very good position, it was clear of Higginson and Brown who were battling, and he's locked the rears again there. So again, I think he's just overdriving it here now, and he's just got to calm it down and just focus, because clearly he's got speed in that car. So he runs wide there, penultimate corner.
He's got pace, does young Felipe, no doubt. It's all about just learning how to apply it correctly, when to attack and where to attack and whatnot. But he's certainly got the ability, and he's got the pace in one lap. But yeah, putting it over a race distance is the challenge all the time.
That's the big one, because anybody can string a single lap together, but not everybody can string a race together. And that's what these guys should be the big focus, to just try and get through these short sprint races without an issue with qualifying. Just a secondary focus. But at the moment, races died down just a little bit. Drivers have filtered their way into positions where pace, where they probably deserve to be. McGillivray here, looking like he's got some solid speed in that thing, right behind Justin Cecil.
Yeah, see how he goes down this left-hander. It's quite difficult. He tucks to the apex, whereas Justin Cecil probably carries a little bit more speed. Reece McGillivray a bit deeper under brakes. They're closed up to him quite well, but he's definitely got a little bit of talent here. He's not quite using as much track perhaps as he could have, but he was trying to, I think, set up something into the hairpin. He's gone sadly a bit wide, however, down towards the back end of the circuit, 10-11.
And Justin Cecil's actually just ran a little bit wide there at the last corner, but because McGillivray is too busy trying to hold on to the car that was sliding around all throughout the corner, he's in fact going to come under attack from Ayrton Felipe. He's looking to make a move into turn 1 side by side, and McGillivray smartly just backs out of it, being on the outside with the overlap that Felipe had. Now
he's him here, and he's come back at him. He's come back at him into 2. He's kind of over-undered him a little bit there through 1. Incredible, honestly, and he's blocked past him through 2.
That's some good driving there for McGillivray. Problem is now, Felipe, he hasn't quite got the overlap for the next part. So smartly got out of it at turn 1 to set up through 2, but he's outbroke himself there at turn 4, and Felipe is back by again. And they're going to go side by side again here.
Healthy duel between these two. Reece certainly showing a little bit of racecraft here. Good to see from new competitors that they've certainly got some ability to race. I think he'll be one to watch in the future, no doubt, even off these basic first few shots, really.
Yeah, solid pace at Sandown, and so far tonight has been the leading Super 3 runner by a considerable margin here, mixing up with a number of Super 2 drivers. And it has to be said, looks like Ryan Smith doing a good job as well. He's a few seconds clear of Darren Loughnane, who are 2nd and 3rd in Super 3, with Smith right behind Dostal and Matt Cecil. But a little bit further afield though, we do have Higginson and Brown, who are fairly close together still. Higginson hasn't been able to shake Brown as much as what he would have hoped, and he's just about 4 seconds shy of Lockie Lock, who has fallen off the back of Bailey Hall as we're halfway through, or more than halfway through this race now.
Because so last lap with Higo and Brown, Higo's managed to pull 3/10 on Zach Brown there. So they were definitely quite close to each other for quite some time. But yes, he's managed to just pull out a little bit more through a lap.
And he's made a mistake and ended up losing all that time. I did see in the background, I don't know if it was just lag or what. Yeah, it looks like it was a bit of lag here. I don't know if that's server end or it's because I haven't got enough cars selected, but yeah, I'm just going to have to go with that. Anyway, Zach Brown did get that gap down again, courtesy of a Higginson mistake. But he's actually lost it all again in that middle sector. So Higginson now at 6.2 off the lead. He's actually made a little bit of time up on as he runs very, very wide at the penultimate corner. He had made up time on our leader by a few tenths on this lap.
Yeah, we've got a little spot fire battle here for P11 and 12 here. We've got Brandon Dostal up the inside of Matt Cecil in through the last corner at this point in time. And we've got another battle for 7th and 8th there with Felipe too. So the race is certainly on between a couple of people towards the back and just past the top 10.
And here we go, Dostal up the inside. These guys have been battling for a couple laps looking at the timing screens. Dostal gets the job into turn 1 and also manages to sort of lift off at the same time. And that's awkward. He did brake a little bit early, which I think caught Matt Cecil out, but you've got to be aware to that. And, Cecil, that's dropped him down a few places, down into 15th behind Christian Alvarez and Darren Lochnan. And that contact unsettled Dostal, who's now got Ryan Smith right behind him.
Intriguing to see how Ryan Smith deals with this. Obviously, it's his first race for the series. And he's debuting. So, and Ayrton Felipe has gone off just in front, I see there.
Yeah, so see if the game actually he's on the marbles out there. It shows just how wide he is. He was well wide, and he's wide again, just over driving it now. And
it can be easy to do if you overheat your tyres, but it's just all about finding that ability.
We got Ryan Smith and Matt Cecil have had a come together here. So unfortunately my game sort of lagged up a bit because again, amount of cars selected. And Matt Cecil's done the same thing. That time he was just trying something that was never going to happen and has absolutely walloped the back of Ryan Smith.
Welcome to the development series, son.
And he's lost control there. Easy to do at
it certainly is.
Corner. I think everybody's had an off there at some point. So he was in a good position, Ryan Smith, but that's all come undone for him. I'm not sure what happened the first time, but the second time Matt Cecil definitely did finish him off. That's Felipe now with Dostal up the inside. Big send. He's going to run wide. Dostal's going to just go straight back up the inside. So again, just more overdriving from Felipe.
Dostal's run wide here too. It's going to be all on down into 6. Felipe up the inside. Not a lot of space given. Definitely closing the door somewhat on him. But they both make it through, live to fight another day, and it's battle on down the hill, down to the hairpin here. She's a tricky braking zone. Will Felipe
he's going to try it, and that was ambitious. Dostal saw it coming and got out of it. And around goes Felipe as he was wide enough that he's on the marbles. Probably a little bit of worn tyres, and probably his rear left probably overheated as well. And, that's him down to 13th. So from a man that started almost on the front row, on the second row there, and was running third early on in this race. He's really come undone in this one.
Yeah, quite unfortunate for him there, but it is what it is. You learn from these sorts of things. You'd hope anyway. So just hopefully, I think there'll be eyes forward towards the next race. Just finish this one. Eyes forward to the next race. See what you can do there.
And here you go, Steve Warwick. It's not quite his home circuit, as I believe his home circuit's actually Bathurst, but certainly one of the circuits that he's able to attend. Having a little bit better luck so far tonight. And right up behind Darren Kemp and Zach Brown, which is ultimately a battle for 4th place. Higginson's been solid these last few laps, maintained the gap to Bailey Hall and edging towards Lockie Lock, but there's not enough laps to close those gaps down. Unfortunately, our only DNF is Cheese.
It's upsetting for his championship hopes, honestly. That'll be, sort of localised yellows there. Melody Smith it might have been, perhaps.
Yeah, looks like it was Melody Smith. And these guys here found themselves into a nice rhythm here at the moment. In the mid to high 31s. Oh, Melody Smith on the grass on the inside. I don't know what she was doing there.
I think it may have just been letting the cars go through. Yeah, this battle here for 4th is basically the hottest battle on track at this point in time. I think that the smoothness of Steve Warwick can really come in towards the back end of this race. He might just have slightly nicer tyres. He looks like he's driving quite smoothly. Darren Kemp is all over the back of Zach Brown. He looks to go up inside.
And Brown gives him the space. This is going to, of course, invite Warwick to get closer. You also do have Christian Alvarez and Darren Loughlin battling it out in Super 3, pretty close together as well. As Kemp thought about the old switch pass and sort of scared Zach Brown out of it. Now Steve Warwick's right with him here. And these guys are dropping bucket loads of time to Higginson, so they can forget about 3rd. And it's all about 4th place as they start their final lap.
Yeah, Zach Brown will want to hold on, but look, Darren Kemp all over the rear end of him. He's bumping him through the final corner. He's giving him the what's up, the hurry up, and he shapes to the inside down towards 1. Zach Brown covers now. Interesting, Darren Kemp's now going to try going on the outside. Zach Brown's moved across again there. He's gone wide through 1. It's going to set Darren Kemp up really well for a good move down into 2, but he didn't seem to get the run. He's going to try anyway. He's going late under brakes. Zach Brown's giving him the room through the corner. Darren Kemp up the inside. I think he might be able to get this done. But
Brown's going to get the drag. He got the drag by running that little bit wide. He was able to straighten it up. But it's on for young and old here. These guys, Zach Brown's blocking all over the place. And he's got 2 sectors to hold on for 4th place, or in these guys' minds, the World Championship.
Yes, he's wide again, unfortunately, out of turn 5, and he's just left it open. I think he's just given it to Darren Kemp there.
I don't believe it. He's just left the door straight open and just, here you go, sir. Here you go, have 4th position.
On the last lap, of all laps to give the guy the move. But it is what it is. He went wide. Maybe he could just press him down into turns 9, 10, 11, but it's hard to get a move done. If Darren Kemp can defend the inside, though, that would be ideal, as we see Bailey Hall streaks ahead of everyone, and he's going to cross the line. This one, almost unsurprisingly, in first, Lewis.
Yeah, unsurprisingly, but we did see as the race sort of panned out a little bit that Higginson did have some solid race pace there, so it will be interesting to see how that goes in race 2. Darren Kemp able to take 4th ahead of Zach Brown in the end. Steve Warwick right there as well. Justin Cecil, solid run to 7th. McGillivray home in 8th place. Solid result for him and for Taipan in 9th. That'll be good for the team's championship, of course. Brandon Dostal, final spot in the top 10, with Christian Alvarez taking 2nd place in Super 3, 11th place overall ahead of Darren Loughlin. And then we have Ayrton Felipe, who of course did start on the 2nd road, was 3rd place in the early runnings before mistakes ruined his race. Teglas home in 14th, Matt Cecil home in 15th after a couple of incidents. And then we have Brian Walsh in 16th ahead of Rhodey. So this is, Rhodey's worst round at least pace-wise, that I can remember. And this is why you should practice, Rudy, and not just wake up with 5 minutes to go and practice. But there we go. Especially at this circuit, this is one you need to practice for. Hayden Cup at home in 18th. Looks like he's got some battle scars on that thing, so it looks like he's had a bit of a struggle. Ryan Smith had a solid first half of the race, and then a little bit of bad luck curtailed his night. Melody Smith home in 20th with Cheese, unfortunately our only retirement, which, hate to say it, probably ends his championship hopes without a lot of luck from here.
That certainly makes things very difficult indeed. Not ideal, but nevertheless, you just want to reset if you're Cheese and just ice forward and try and have fun out of this race. You're starting at the back when you've got some pace, which means you know you'll be able to go past some people. So have fun with that, I think is a good way to approach it.
Yeah, be able to pass some cars, and it should be a bit of fun for him. But that's race one done and dusted. I'm going to go to the main menu and make sure I can see all the cars out on the circuit now, so we don't have any more of these cars warping off in the background. But with that, we'll take a break. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back to round 9 of the ASR Development Series from Sydney Motorsport Park, where Bailey Hall has claimed pole position and race number 1, with Lockie Lock home in second place. But we did see Nathan Higginson recover his poor qualifying effort to finish in third place and had some solid race pace along the way. He'll be ruining that poor qualifying session. And behind him, we did have a great battle between Darren Kemp, Zach Brown, and Steve Warwick for 4th, 5th, and 6th place. And we did have one of our championship combatants in Cheese have an unfortunate internet dropout there for him, which means he's pretty much out of the running for the championship without a heap of luck going his way. But he'll be hoping to at least have a bit of fun here in races 2 and 3 to see where he ends up. 2.5 minutes to go in the current warm-up session at the moment before we tick over to race number 2. And that first race there being one of the first races of the year, or one of the few races of the year where we've not had a safety car. And I'll choose on your screen, but I actually will bring up the championship standings from outside the top 10. Was only able to get enough time for the top 10 in the warm-up prior to race number 1, and as you can see, this is prior to the first race tonight. Actually, I do have to update that, so just bear with me here, because yeah, that's not quite right. And I believe that should be right there. Let me just double check. Yeah, that is correct. So Rody there on 996 in 11th place overall. Noah Tara not here this evening. Zach Brown, should see him challenge the top 10 in the standings with his great form of late. Currently in 13th, but he's got pace his second half of this year so far. So expect him to move into the top 10. Ayrton Philippi in 14th. Darren Loughnane, second place overall in Super 3. And after sort of Rody's poor form in that first race there, was able to finish and pick up points. But Darren Loughnane was able to put a few positions over him. So he will have brought back some of that points deficit. Bailey Hall, expect him to move up. He'll probably even finish inside the top 10 if his current form keeps continuing on. Phil Donny not here this evening. Actually can't remember if he's actually out for the season or if he's coming back. But yeah, not here this evening. He's on 694 in 17th. Laszlo Teglas in 18th. Expect him to move ahead of Phil Donny tonight. Bratt, who's got some work at the moment, so he's not out there at the moment in 19th. And Peter Thrower in 20th. And while we're here, probably got a minute or two before we tick over to race number 2. The team standings, of course, this is prior to race 1 tonight. Luke McHugh Racing, which was Ben Hall and Lockie Lock. Now it's only Lockie Lock with a 52-point gap over HME powered by Kiwi SimSport. Probably needs a few more words thrown into that team name, for being honest. But that's Taipan and, of course, Nathan Higginson. Expect them to probably move ahead and win the team standings, considering Luke McHugh Racing only has one driver now. APK SimSports ahead of Kiwi SimSports. Of course, Darren Kemp and Matt Cecil. APK SimSport with Kiwi SimSports, Peter Thrower and Cheese. Cheese is following the flag for Kiwi SimSports. Peter Thrower been a little bit busy with life, so that's why he hasn't been able to make all the rounds. We're still putting up a fight, but they're going to need a bit of luck to get third. LLM Juniors Academy in 5th place with Ayrton Filippi and Justin Cecil. KSS underdeveloped squad. Neither of their drivers here tonight. That's Damo and Luke Yeager. They're in 6th. PBF Scotch Smugglers ahead of Tevez Shadow Racing in Super 3. And then we have WRT Blackshaws and PBF Race Engineering with neither PBF drivers. Well, they don't even... That team's now defunct, I believe. With obviously WT Blackshaws being only Steve Warwick. Alright. I'm not sure if my co-commentator has joined me, but if he has, feel free, Snipes, to say good day.
Oh yeah, what's happening, Lewis? No, I am indeed here. Good to hear you run through it. Nevertheless, gives me a break for a couple minutes where I can think about absolutely nothing. Um, it should be good. We're getting ready to go, I think, for this last race. Oh no, warm up got reset, and I apologise. I thought I heard the siren, but the server got reset, so we won't be too far at least off a second race. I'm expecting a little bit more of a two-way battle. Or three-way battle perhaps for the front as opposed to a potential two-way battle this time with Higo showing a lot of pace there. And a story to note is obviously going to be Cheese off the back of the grid. How far can he move up this race? That'll be our gun from the back. It'll be intriguing to see how that goes.
Yeah, certainly going to be a man to watch. Hopefully he's able to slide his way through and give us some entertainment along the way. And we did, of course, hear the sirens, which means we are going across to start the race with hopefully no issues befalling any driver as it ticked over or on this formation lap. But race one there, Snipes, one of the few races we've had without a safety car. Will we go 2 from 2 without a safety car? That is a big question.
Yeah, look, I wouldn't put my money on it as
the server has restarted.
Brandon Dostal has dropped out, unfortunately, so it seems that we're resetting it all just to quickly get him back. So hopefully he'll be back pretty soon. I'm sure he will be. He's already back.
It's a pretty quick dropout. So yeah, now we wait
for the griddening. It starts again. We wait for the old sirens of destiny to light our way. There it is. Wonderful to hear. Hopefully this time we can go racing, Lewis.
Yes, hopefully no issues this time around. And we're able to get running again, hopefully. So it doesn't look like anyone's dropped out so far. But of course, AMS being AMS, you just truly never know.
Yes, it can be a little bit irritating at points. AMS doesn't like to behave at points in time, especially when you're getting a whole lot of cars on a grid like this. But nevertheless, the racing is still great for such an old platform. It's still very good multiplayer. It's some of the better net coding I've actually come across in racing.
Yeah, it is one of the, despite its age, is one of the best sims to at least race side by side with other cars on. The old AMS and R Factor. Alright, formation lap is underway. Bailey Hall will be looking to go 2 from 2. Lockie Lock will be hoping to get a slightly better start. My turn to run through the grid this time. And of course, Bailey Hall taking race 1 will start from pole position with Lockie Lock joining him on the front row once again. Nathan Higginson, instead of starting right, will start 3rd after much improved race pace in race 1 there. Darren Kemp will join him on the 2nd row after a last lap pass ahead of Zach Brown. Zach Brown just let him go for, well, probably just outbroke himself and ran wide, but it just looked like he just let him go. So he'll start P5. Steve Warwick will start P6 ahead of Justin Cecil, who I believe finished where he started. Reese McGillivray made up a few positions, able to clinch position 8, so he'll start 8th. Of course, the leading Super 3 driver in this one. Tight Band will start 9th. Brendan Nostell will start in position number 10 for Team 76 Racing. Christian Alvarez will start from 11th place ahead of Darren Lockman. Ayrton Filippi showed good speed, but is quite vulnerable to mistakes. He'll be hoping to cut them out in this one. He'll start 13th ahead of Laszlo Teglas. Matt Cecil will start P15. He should be a little bit higher, but he's just got to cut out some little errors. Well, We'll have Brian Walsh starting in 16th ahead of Rhodey, who has gone and run wide at the old hairpin there. Exactly what I think Teglas did at the formation lap last time around. It's either him or Alvarez. Hayden Cuppett will start from position number 18 ahead of Ryan Smith. Ryan Smith, another one who showed some decent pace in the opening stanza, but obviously a little bit of bad luck befouled him, so that's why he's starting towards back. Look to see him move through the field, and he is Super 3 class despite driving the BF Commodore. His car not in game yet. Melody's Pistol will start from 20th ahead of course, Cheese, who did have that internet dropout. He was the only non-finisher in the previous race, so hopefully he has no more internet drops and he has a lot of fun passing cars in this one. Alright, all drivers, look like they're formed up on the grid. They are. The lights are on. That's a very quick light sequence, and once again fairly even between our first two. Nathan Higginson with a good start, trying to bump draft his way, and he does bump draft his way by the look of it up into second place. Exactly what he needed. And like a lot going defensive with Darren Kemp in behind as we go into turn number 2.
Yeah, Bailey Hall also going defensive into 2. They're making sure Hego can't get up his inside as well at all. As we see the field go through reasonably cleanly. Very good start early on lap 1 here. Bailey Hall now is just going to want to try to get his head down and try to pull away from the cars behind him. As we see Hego wide through the section. So he's losing a little bit of time to Bailey Hall through this first lap, which he certainly won't want to be doing. We want to make it a battle front.
And you know, Darren Kemp looking to make a move on Lockie Lock here. Exactly what Nathan Higginson wants. He wants to have Lockie Lock just get caught up in a battle, and he's able to put time on him. And he can just focus on the car in front as well as himself. And Zach Brown had a poor start in this one, as did see contact between Ed and Felipe, and I think it was Christian Alvarez at turn 2. Felipe, though, he's dropped all the way down, so I'm not sure what's happened to him. Also got Brian Walsh towards the back as well, but Bailey Hall will lead away once again, and Lockie Lock has got a good run out of the final corner. Now, does he go for the move into turn 1, or does he wait for turn 2?
Setting it up, going to 1, he's going to try to challenge him. Kemp doesn't give him too much to work with there on the inside. Lucky Lock wisely backs out of it, shakes towards the inside here for a move at 2, but no dies as we see Zach Brown on the inside of Justin's Cecil there. It is all on like on and 2 for these guys battling essentially 5th, 6th, 4th, etc. Close up front still.
It is still fairly close, although Higginson's actually made a mistake in the first sector because he's lost time to Kemp and he's lost a heap of time to Bailey Hall. So I'm not sure where he did that, but he's now fallen into the clutches of Kemp, who's trying to hold on to 3rd place here. And even so, right behind them, we've got Justin Cecil trying to hold on to 5th ahead of Zach Brown, and then he's sort of edging closer already after dropping a little bit of time. Bit of a dive from Brown on Justin Cecil there. Cecil running wide, and they're going to go side by side here into turn 11.
That's brave there, executing it well so far. Justin Cecil holding the inside, which will give him the advantage into the last corner. And yeah, Zach Brown not going to be able to complete the move. However, he's going to go over under him. Perhaps he's going to get a good run out of the corner. Perhaps he's going to tuck right into the slipstream, you'd have to think. And maybe he'll look at a move into 1.
And McGillivray's right there as well. Looked like that he was going to get the run as Justin Cecil ran wide. He's going to go up the inside, late move. And Steve Warwick probably going to try and follow him through here as well. And Justin Cecil right behind Zach Brown. May have been a little bit of light contact in the braking zone. Didn't seem to unsettle Brown all that much. And Steve Warwick out, tells him to just move out of the way. This position is mine. And Zach Brown now.
2 in 1 corner there. Sorry to cut you off, Lewis. It was just a move on the brakes alongside and got 2 in 1 corner.
Oh no! And they got contact and a half spin from Zach Brown. Thankfully the second bit of contact saved him. But he's got pace in the car, but he's just now stuck battling cars that he probably should be ahead of due to his bad start. So now he's just got to refocus and just pick one off at a time and just consolidate here. But battling so hard is costing himself time. He's not being too smart about it here. McGillivray up the inside, Brown wide, and Taipan up the inside of Matt Cecil. Brandon Dostal's right there as well. Brown right out sideways.
Oh my gosh, look at it, 3 wide.
This is
Surely not.
Surely not. You don't really go going too wide through here is tough enough. Oh, there's contact. I don't know if Taipan just turned down him or what, but oh, and then there's contact again. Matt Cecil's right there. He's made contact with the rear of Dostal, and he's gone around, or half gone around, and wow, it's all going on. I'm gonna cut to a replay here. You didn't see too many, and so Cecil got out of it. You got Dostal to the right. So yeah, it did get turned down on there, old Zach Brown. And then Cecil, yeah, just driving into the back of Dostal, and then twice, and then the second one just sort of finished him off as he come back live. And there's Cheese now, up 9 spots, right behind Christian Alvarez. And much faster, but can't make use of it through turn 2. Got Darren Loughnane and Ayrton Filippi duking it out. And also got Rhodey there looking to have some improved pace in this one, with at least 11 laps under his belt now. Oh, and there's a mistake there for Loughnane, and that's going to invite Rhodey to make a move, but he backs out. Ryan Smith, of course, he's also Super 3. He's got the good run, did Rhodey, but Loughnane just parked it at the apexes ahead. We're going 3 wide again. Absolute sheep stations. And Alvarez being a bit of a roadblock here for some of these faster Super 2 cars. And Cheese is just going to try go around the outside. If he pulls this off, this will be a move. And he's done it.
He's going to get it done.
He's done it. That shows that, well, just the pace difference really, and the confidence. Cecil going to try and follow him through. As, well, Alvarez trying to put up a fight here, but he's not winning too many frames. We've got Rhodey and Smith around, and Shadow's been just bumped out of the way. I thought we did have a flash of yellows there for a safety car, but it looks like it's just localised yellow. So let's have a look here. Oh, so Rhodey got rear-ended. That's a bit suspect, if I do say so myself. But let's just cut to a replay. I know. Don't know what that was about. There's a brake pedal that you're meant to be using, and Tegais has just snooked it. Those 2 drivers there, Rhodey and I think it was Ryan Smith. Got Hayden Cuppett going slowly. He may be redressing position, perhaps. No, he just dropped it. So he's struggling back to the pits. We do have Melody Smith out of the race. Bailey Hall is in the lead. Higginson in second. He's got a bit of a gap to Lockie Lock and Kemp have been duking out. They've probably been swapping positions, but we haven't seen it because we've been looking at all the other stuff that's been going on so far in this one. Because I've got spam bots to also deal about, so it's all going on here.
Yeah, absolutely. And while you see these combatants fighting, Steve Warwick pressing right up the back of Darren Kemp there too. Darren Kemp running a bit wide through 10. Steve Warwick going to try pounce in the last corner. He's got a little bit of an inside run, but I don't know if it's going to be good enough to get him the run he really needs. However, he's close enough to tuck right into that slipstream. He's going to be powerful enough for him to possibly draw alongside down through turn 1, but perhaps not. Darren Kemp goes, well, predictably defensive. Steve Warwick thinks better of it, and we go into one safely, and not enough run through one for Warwick to make any threat into 2 either.
And just a little bit conservative there, Steve Warwick. Probably could have gone to the power a little bit earlier there at turn 1, but I think he's just happy just to have a nice clean run so far. He's been one that's been in the wars all year, and P5. Solid effort so far. Justin Cecil in P6, just ahead of McGillivray. And Zach Brown finally just starting to come a little bit closer towards McGillivray and Justin Cecil once again. Also got Brandon Dostal just tagging along on the old tow rope. Taipan there in 10th. Cheese now up to 11th. I've not had a look at live races, but he does look like he's closing on those cars in front. Filippi up to 12th, Matt Cecil in 13th, ahead of Christian Alvarez, his teammate right behind. Although I would expect him to probably end up with some form of punishment from the stewards with that contact between himself and Rhodey at turn 10-11. But he's got bigger things to worry about right now. He's got Darren Loughnane right behind him. Then you've got Brian Walsh, Hayden Cuppett chubbing around slowly. So he's got some dramas going on there. And there's Rhodey that's just overtaken him, and Ryan Smith, who was also involved in that incident as well.
Yeah, torrid first couple of races for Ryan Smith there in the series. He'll be just hoping to finish cleanly from here, I'd say, and get through a clean third race.
Yeah, it's been a bit unlucky. Does have some speed in that thing, just needs a bit of luck. As we, at the moment, in a bit of a lull at the moment. The gaps have all started to just break open between each car. And really closest battle on track, Matt Cecil and Christian Alvarez, with also got Darren Loughnane and Laszlo Teglas battling it out. Looks like Loughnane has just got by Teglas.
Yeah, got the move done. That'll be one up for Loughnane. You want to stay ahead of all the three competitors he used to face, obviously. You want to beat all your rivals where you can, especially the guys in the same class. Beating Super 2 drivers is just a bonus when it comes along, but realistically, you're battling the guys in your class, and Laszlo's in there.
Certainly is. And he'll be setting his eyes forward to try and get by Laszlo's teammate, who's just up the road. And we do have Cheese. He's caught onto the back of Taipan here, and Zach Brown's also caught. Actually, no, Zach Brown was ahead of Brandon Dostal, I believe. Yeah, 35-1. So he's made a mistake. And as you see, Taipan, speaking of mistakes, running wide at turn 1. Cheese just a little bit sideways, means he can't set up a move here into 2. But
yeah, he's on the charge here. He cut 5/10 out of Taipan in that last lap, so he's certainly got pace over him at this point in time. But just going to be about laying it down and executing a pass, which is hard to do in a man like Taipan. He certainly is very defensive, doesn't give a whole lot of room, and you know it's not going to be easy.
Got yellows. I don't know if it's Higginson's dropped it. Higginson has dropped it. He's got his lights on for something, so maybe some lap traffic, or he's bumped something. So we cut to a replay. No, dropped it on his own. He's got on the marbles, and he can count himself lucky that those tyres haven't actually been made solid, because it's hitting the tyres around the circuit. He's not good, and that's a DQ. Oh. That'll be a disqualification. They've rule in place for unsafe rejoins. A number of drivers have fallen foul to that, and we do have a safety car. Well, there we go. The race seemed all but done, and Lockie locked now. That is a massive free kick. I'm not sure he knows about it, but his championship rival has cost himself dearly there. Another unforced error. Comfortably in second. He just needed to keep going, Snipes. He didn't need to try and push.
Yeah, look, that's not good, really. Higo's, he knows what to do. I'm sure he was just frustrated and wanted to get on track, but unfortunately he's not waited for an appropriate moment. And yeah, that's a huge blow to his championship hopes. I'm sure he's very disappointed right now. And Lockie Lock may not know it yet, but yes, that's a huge free kick for him. And it's also going to bring Cheese perhaps back into it, if not for the championship, then at least P2 perhaps. So it's going to kind of level out the last race for Cheese here with Higo's impending DQ.
Yeah, it will certainly open the door to him recovering maybe not all the points he got, or lost I should say, from race 1, but he'll certainly get a lot of those points back. So currently running in 9th place. He'll want to try and, I think best case scenario, we will get at least one lap of running. His best case scenario is a few of the cars in front of him fall off the road and he can maybe steal a top 5. A podium would need an absolute miracle. But with the way we've seen some of these guys in the midfield battle, a bit of contact and a bit of luck, we could see him at best get position 5. But I think for him, if he can get maybe 2 cars with a little bit of luck and someone in front making a slight mistake, I think that's definitely achievable. But certainly you'll try and get at least ahead of Taipan here.
Yeah, no doubt. I would expect him to be trying to get ahead of Taipan sooner rather than later too. He's going to want to focus on getting a good jump and a good run to probably ideally set up a move towards 2, but he'll still want to be strong through 1 for that to be able to happen.
Yep. Of course, green-white checker is a rule in ASR, so for those that don't know, in NASCAR, obviously, I think you get multiple attempts at finishing under green. Here in ASR, it's set to drivers have 1 opportunity. So if the safety car comes out and the lap count expires behind the safety car, an additional lap will continually be added until the safety car pulls in, and there will be 1 final green lap of racing. So I would imagine here, Snipe, safety car probably going to pull in at the end of the next lap. And we'll have 1 final lap of racing. If it pulls in now, that's okay. We'll still get that final lap. But we will have 1 lap of racing. And who knows, maybe Lockie Lock will get the jump this time around and steal a win, really, because he was nowhere near second place, let alone the leader in Bailey Hall. That's certainly going to make things interesting.
Yeah, it certainly will. It's going to be all on. We know these last lap dashes. Townsville proved just how hectic they can be. So we'll see if this development series field can get through it cleanly. I'm sure some people will want to make some moves. Bailey Hall's just going to want to get a good jump. He's left a lot of room.
He's going to want to move a bit closer to the safety car here. I know you're meant to leave a gap, but in the game, penalties do get cleared for safety car infringements that are a bit silly, but he has left probably much too big a gap here to the safety car. But it does slow down quite a bit as it enters the pits, but we are about to go racing, and he's gone. As soon as it's gone green, normally they wait until the start-finish line here, but yeah, that's given Lockie Lock absolutely no chance here as we go through turns 1 and 2. Will we see any moves? Zach Brown looking to make a move here in the background on Brandon Dostal. And a bit of contact. And Cheese has got by Taipan, but he's sort of right out sideways. Anton Filippi's going through as well, trying to go through as well. And so they rub panels. And then Matt Cecil and Anton Filippi also duking it out, the 2 FGXs. And Cecil getting ahead, at least for now. And, Cheese now setting his sights on Zach Brown, who just closed the door on him a little bit. So he might get another position. As you say, Dostal's wide. And Zach Brown up the inside. Does he follow through? He's going to follow through. He's going to try to. He's lost his rear end. It cost him. He could have taken another position there. He's going to need a little bit of luck from here.
Yeah, I don't think the move's on into the hairpin here. Want to get it pulled up nicely so that you can try to threaten into the last corner. He's looking like he's pressuring Dostal there. He's got a bit of pace. Dostal's going to be feeling the heat into the last corner, the last couple of corners here. It's quite tricky, but if Cheese can get the inside, he'll have the advantage, but he can't. He runs it wide. He's going to
try and set up the exit here, but we'll cut to our leader. So Bailey Hall will go 2 from 2. Lockie Lock will finish second. Kemp will come home third with Steve Warwick in fourth. McGivilray will come home in position 5, with Brown taking P6 ahead of Dostal and Cheese, with Taipan home in 9th ahead of Filippi rounding out the top 10. So, yeah, we did see some hard racing on that final lap. A couple drivers will be thinking, I should have just maybe tried a little bit less throttle and not gassed it up, but I think Cheese can be quite happy to come home in P8 starting from the back around this circuit. Up 13 spots in 11 laps.
That's a fun race, When you're overtaking more than a person a lap, I think you're doing a pretty good job considering, sometimes it can take, and a lot of races can take laps to set up someone for a move. So going past more than a person on lap is excellent effort. Obviously, it shows, that he's got a bit of experience in this field now. He's been doing this for a good couple of years. So, he's driven all the circuits and he knows what to do. So he's probably got showing his experience a little bit there for the field. But nevertheless, the job's not done. He's done well, but he's still got another race to go. He's going to start P8. Will he be able to move forwards towards the top 5?
Yeah, that's the big question. He's put himself in a decent position. Now just needs to get away, pardon me, from the start-finish line well. As I always seem to miss the drivers doing doughies on the cooldown lap, trying to pick up the finishing orders of a number of the other drivers. But there we are. There's some drivers, Darren Kemp and McGillivray, going off and doing some line lockers and some doughies. As once again, Bailey Hall 2 from 2. Lucky Lock second in both races so far. And of course, once again, big talking point, Nathan Higginson, unforced error. Story of his season. And with a looming penalty as well to go on top of getting himself up into second and then throwing it away. So not ideal for Mr. Higginson. And he'll also, of course, have to start this third race here from 14th place, Snipes. So a bit of work to do once again.
Yeah, look, he's got the pace to move forward. That's very much clear. He just needs to emulate his first race a bit. In his first race, he moved up a lot early, as did Cheese in this race. Cheese was up like 7 positions in the first lap, and I think Higo was up a similar amount in the first lap. Not 7, obviously, starting from 9th, I think it was, but he was up 3 or 4 positions in the first lap, so he gave himself a good shot. He'll want to do that again. They both will, realistically, want to move forward as quickly as they can. But that first lap is your best time to capitalise while the field's punched, before everyone spreads out a bit. However, it is risk and reward too. The more you risk, the more reward you can get. But obviously, if you don't do it right, and we've seen M Series drivers do that plenty, well, it all goes south very quickly.
Yeah, unfortunately, it certainly does at times. But yeah, that's the way the cookie crumbles. All right, with bit of a gap now between races, just loading in once again, and of course we will have a warm-up session for drivers to sort themselves out for the third race. We'll take a short break, but we will be back for the final race of the evening in a few minutes' time. Don't go anywhere. But as you can see from me clicking the wrong buttons there, we are back for the third and final race here from Sydney Motorsport Park, where we've had championship implications in that second race. With the point standings, they have been updated by our man down there on the boundary, Brendan Ross there. And Lockie Lock now does lead the championship, 2,084 points, plays 2,046 cheese on 18.05, 241 points away. But of course, Higginson will have, well, he does have an impending penalty for his unsafe rejoin onto the circuit. So not only did he cost himself second place in that race, he then went on to shoot himself in the foot even further. I could say he's probably shot himself, not in the foot, but not even in the kneecap. He's probably just shot himself straight through the artery in his thigh, and he's slowly bleeding out. So not ideal there for Nathan Higginson with that unsafe rejoin, and he's got a lot of work to do in these final few rounds. And it certainly opens the door, as you did mention, Snipes, for Cheese to come in, and even with that DNF due to internet dramas, does give him a chance to possibly even steal second place from Nathan Higginson if he continues on this form of, doing the old Greg Norman of just choking. So, going to make an interesting final few rounds. Can Higginson turn it around? Will Locke begin to just crack a little bit with a couple rounds to go on the championship lead? And will Cheese have a bit of luck and find himself right there in the championship battle as well? Many questions to be answered, but we're moments away from race 3. There will be further questions asked of these drivers, and if they're able to get around this Sydney Motorsport Park circuit without running off the circuit.
Yeah, it's always the challenge there. Just keeping it on the black stuff really helps you get good results. But it can be hard in the heat of battle when the pressure's on, when someone's right on you or you're trying to make a move on someone. You can just easily get a little bit caught out by something or just overestimate the abilities of you or your car and make a mistake, which can really cost you. And yes, we see it. We see it time and time again from varied drivers just making mistakes at the wrong times. I mean, there's no right time for one. But certainly it's very hard when you're fighting for a championship, making big ones nevertheless.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't help. And, there's the sirens in the background. So we're moments away from race number 3. 21 drivers will once again take part in this one, barring any kind of dropout. So hopefully don't have any. So we can conclude this final race. And I can get back to playing F1 Manager 22. But, 11 laps. Bailey Hall versus Lockie. Well, Bailey Hall really versus himself. At the moment, he's been so far ahead of the field. Particularly in race 2, he's quite dominant.
He's been quick since he joined. Certainly a promotion to Super 2 was right, and he's put himself right in the front of the field. I honestly think he would not look out of place next season in a main game car. He's got that much pace and ability, it seems. He's at times streaked away from the field here. Will he be able to do it again? Let's find out. Lewis, I don't need you to tell me what to do. I know the program at this point in time. I'm going to run us through the grid here. Up on pole position. He's a man who's basically dominated all night from qualifying through both races at this point in time. Bailey Hall out of P1. Out of P2, we have Lockie Lock there. He'll be looking to just keep finishing well. P2 is great for Lockie Lock if the person you're losing to is Bailey Hall. That is absolutely no drama. Behind him, having a reasonably good night here, is Darren Kemp starting out of P3. He'll be a hard man to pass, as he always is. And behind him, Steve Warwick out of P4. Good starting spot for Steve. Let's see how he does this race. P5, a very impressive result for Reese McGillivray there, starting there, with Zach Brown alongside him in P6. Out of P7, we had Brandon Doster with a one of his better results of the season, if I recall correctly there. And starting alongside him will be Cheese. He'll be looking to get a really good start to make some moves early. Behind him and starting out of P9 is Taipan and Ayrton Felipe after an average couple of races starting out of P10. He'll just want to keep it clean and consistent and try and move forward a couple of spots. Matt Cecil starting out of P11 with Laszlo Teglis starting out of P12 alongside him. Out of P13, we have Darren Lochnan and, yes, Nathan Higginson alongside out of P14, a disastrous race 2 there. Out of P15, we have Justin Cecil and alongside him, Brian Walsh. Out of P17, Christian Shadow, and starting alongside him is the Super 3 compatriot Brody. Hayden Cuthert starting out of P19 with Ryan Smith, who's had an unfortunate debut night. He's showed some class, I think, out of P20. Possibly look for him to move forward, Lewis. And out of P21, Melody Smith, and that will round out our grid as we get set to go racing again.
Yeah, moments away now. And I think you're right. A little bit of luck, and we should see Ryan Smith up there duking it out in the mid-pack as we saw in race number 1. Number of drivers moving back and forward on the grid. They can't quite find the box, but I think they're all in position now. Indeed they are. The lights are on. And jump start for McGillivray. He's ruined it. He's tried to do a little bit of what old mate did in the Utes many years ago, but he ran into the back of, I think it was Darren Kemp or Zach Brown. The two leaders side by side through turn 1, and Darren Kemp hasn't had an ideal start, but he'll have the inside for turn 2. There's a little bit of contact between Lockie Lock and now Steve Warwick, who had really nowhere to go, and that's going to invite HMAS Kemp into second. Is the man you're not going to want to be behind here, Lockie Lock, and he's fighting his way through to try and make sure that doesn't happen.
Turn 4, he's got the advantage up the inside, but if Darren Kemp can hold it around the outside, which he has done, he's going to have the inside into turn 5. Well done from Darren Kemp to hold that there. A difficult position, and then he's parked it in front of Lockie Lock, giving him nowhere to go. That's some fantastic racing. He's gone a bit of a defensive line now into turn 6. We see Steve Warwick up the inside of Lockie Lock. Lockie Lock's gone backwards on this first lap. Won't be pleasing for him, but he is still in front of everyone that realistically matters.
And massive, well, not that he needed it, but massive free kick for Bailey Hall, because Kemp's not going to make it easy for these guys in behind to get by, but I think it's going to put on a bit of a show for us. There's going to be a bit of a train start to form up behind Mr. Kemp, because Steve Warwick has had a bit of pace, and he has been locked in a battle all night with Darren Kemp. We also have Lockie Lock there as well that's going to try and put moves on, which will cost time. Zach Brown will look to try and make moves as well. Of course, McGillivray will have to come in and serve a drive-through. Just watch the pit entry line, my friend. It comes up pretty quick. And he does slow down in time. And he does get down to 40 as well. As you see, Rhodey and Smith side by side into one. A little bit of light contact, but Smith gets the job done. As we see Brian Walsh a little bit wide in the background.
Yeah, interesting thing there. Smith, he's gone wide here into turn 2, but up 6 positions at first lap there. Well, now he's back down to 5 after going wide through 2. Brody sneaks back 5. But yes, showing a little bit of pace there to move forward a number of positions in the first lap.
As McGillivray found himself with another penalty. I wonder if he's turned the button off a little bit too early, because it looked like he came in nice. No, he must have just sped on the way in or pressed it during the pit lane itself. But Darren Kemp's actually found himself a bit of a gap over Steve Warwick, who's holding on for dear life in third at the moment. So respite for Kemp as Warwick locks up, and even Lockie Lock himself was very deep under brakes. So this little 3-car train, they've broken free of Taipan and Dostal have had solid starts in this one. There were other cars in the mix of this battle. I just wonder where they went.
Cheese has gone to the back here. He's gone to P18, and I think that's quite recent because he'd fallen back a couple of spots from his start, but he's fallen back very far now.
They got Brian Walsh off the road. I'm not sure what's happened there. I'll try and find Cheese. So, I was contact in front. Felipe was trying an ambitious move. Cheese had nowhere to go. He then had Matt Cecil, who had nowhere to go, and then he got hit by a heap of cars. And unfortunately for Cheese, it's dropped him to the back of the field once again. So it's not been his night. So hopefully you can get a good clean run at it this second half. Well, for the remainder of this night anyway.
There's a bit of a rough one there as we look towards this battle here. Lockie Lock and Steve Warwick. It is certainly all on Steve Warwick. Has been really applying the pressure this lap. Zach Brown also right with this, as we said, look at the front glitch. I'm showing Lockie Lock at P15, but we know that he's right there. So this is indeed a battle for P3, and Steve Warwick really applying the blowtorch. Can he get a good run down out through 7 into turn 8 now? The hairpin, it's a bit tricky. Lucky Lock's covered the inside. He's done a reasonable job of that. He's parked his car right in front, nowhere for Steve Warwick to go. He's got a slightly better exit, Warwick, I think, but not going to be good enough to challenge, I don't think.
I think if he plays the smart game here, Steve, I think Lucky Lock a little bit quicker than him. But if he can just hold on, use the toe, and just follow Lock as he closes on the back of Kemp, because Lock has got more pace than Kemp. He can bide his time and then make a move later on in the race and maybe even steal second if he plays it smart. But he's right up the inside. I don't know what happened there. It may have been a redress or a game issue. I don't know what happened there. What has happened? Right on board. Yeah, I don't know what happened. That's really odd.
Well, Lucky Lock's fallen down a couple of spots. There's a bit of dust, possibly Steve Warwick wide. But yeah, Zach Brown's got past him as well. So disastrous couple of corners for Lucky Lock. This is not really maximising the points gain that you still want to be getting to be leading the championship. He's ahead of his rivals, which is what really matters. But still, you want to maximise these starts. And he's just struggling in this race.
Yeah, perhaps he has had some wheel issues in the main series, and maybe that's carrying on through to this one. You see Taipan now starting to form a little bit of a train behind him, not too far away from that pack we've been looking at. But Brendan Dostal, Matt Cecil, right there with him as well. Just seeing that last penalty to McGillivray has been cleared by Rossi there, as it had been shown that he actually slowed down and, pressed the button at the right time on the exit. So just AMS doing AMS things, I guess, as we see fastest lap from Bailey Hall once again. No surprise. And Matt Cecil trying to find a way past Brendan Dostal, and he's got a fast charging Higginson.
Sorry, I've just seen Christian Shadow go off towards the back. I'm looking at this little battle pack between Ryan Smith. He's been pressuring Rhodey, and Christian Shadow just managed to light it up a bit, at least off the back of them, out of the last corner there, as you see. But yeah, Ryan Smith now shaping up for a move. Rhodey, he's locked up.
He's locked the rears. I don't know if it was if there was avoidance in that, or if he's just come in, pressed the brake pressure too much, or what. Or, he's compression locked it. A lot of brake pressure at the same time as I think he's downshifted without blipping. That's compression locked him there. He's got Rhodey now locked and under pressure. So Rhodey's the night's gone on. Has actually shown some solid pace. Unfortunately for him though, he didn't practice during the week. As very close to Lockman. So he's been well off the pace. This is of course for the lead in Super 3 with McGillivray having to serve a drive-through penalty. So a win on offer for these guys in Super 3.
Yeah, for sure. You want it. You want to beat the guys in your class every time. Going to quickly redirect you here, Lewis. Steve Warwick has just gone around last corner. I think this is side-by-side contact. That's what I was going to redirect you to with Lockie Lock. He's at least half looped it. Lockie Lock running very, very, very wide, and yeah, looks to be just a little bit of door-to-door contact at the wrong spot there, and Steve Warwick unfortunately falls back down to P5.
Well, fortunately, it's not the worst bit of bad luck he's had this season. It's only dropped into P5, so still in a decent position. He's actually not too far away from Zach Brown, but it's going to be difficult with 5 laps to go to recover that time. As we see, Taipan's actually dropped off the circuit as well by the look of it, because he's now in 11th behind Ayrton Filippi. And Brendan Dostal's now in P6, but he's got Matt Cecil right behind him, and they're not too far away from the covering Steve Warwick.
Showing here from Matt Cecil here, well in the top 10, putting the pressure on Brandon Dostal, who I think is having a very good night so far. He's put his car in the top 10 last race, and he's well into the top 10 this race too, so I think one of his better nights so far in the league that I've seen.
Oh, a little bit of a mistake there from Cecil, couldn't quite get the nose in. An early turn in there for Dostal, going to compromise him on the mid and exit. But Matt Cecil himself running very, very wide. Oh, we've got a car off in the background. That's Justin Cecil. Now, did he get a little bit too close to Higginson, or did he just drop it on his own? He dropped it on his own. Yeah, the camber does change when you go over onto that tarmac, and he's got a bit of damage on that front right, so at least Higginson now doesn't have to worry about the car behind, and he can set his sights on the battle in front. But his race pace in this one, not too good.
He's been struggling a little bit. He's been in a few battles and whatnot, just struggling to pick through the pace. I imagine before the end of the race, he'll manage to get up to these couple in front of him. He's definitely got the pace to be going past them, but I think with the time that we're just over halfway through the race, with the time that's left and the gaps that are there, like, it'll still be hard pressed for him to catch someone like Steve Warwick. He's only a few seconds up the road, but that's still going to be a difficult task.
We did see, of course, Karen Lochner and Rhodey battling out, but Rhodey's dropped off the back of that, and in fact he's got Teglas and Alvarez not too far away, and even McGillivray's recovering, so that second place overall in class may be difficult as Cheesy cut to him, and he's almost put it into the fence.
He's kept it out of it, thankfully. I heard the commotion to my left, the wheel going sharply left and then right, but he's kept it out of the fence, looking through the field, just trying to find what's going on. Justin Cecil on the back of the was it? No, hang on. Apologies.
So Higginson now right behind Matt Cecil, and Steve Warwick under pressure from Brandon Dostal now, so his pace this last lap hasn't been ideal, or Dostal's found time. There's Higginson right behind Cecil. Is Cecil going to defend it here in a one? He is. And Higginson moves at the last possible moment to try and go around the outside. It's an ambitious move.
Cecil's going to have the inside into two. He's got the overspeed, but Cecil...
he's not going to pull it up there. And there you go.
Oh! Yeah, Cecil really tried to cover the inside there, but Higginson awake to it and really snuck down a very minimal inside line there, but he got the job done. A little bit of a bump, but I don't think much untoward, to be honest. And away he goes past Cecil. Will he be able to press on? I'd say so, but yeah, Dostal a couple of seconds up the road now.
Yeah, he's going to need a couple of good laps. Oh. Cecil very wide. There's marbles out there. I don't know why drivers push out that far, and he could have tried to hold the brake a little bit there. Thankfully, no cars having their own moment. So unfortunately for Cecil, he's having a good run down to 11th now, just trying to keep up with Higginson. And got a driver in the pits there by the sound of it. Not sure who that is. I'll cycle through. It's Ryan Smith. I'm not sure what that's for. His car doesn't look like he's got damage putting tyres on. Maybe he underfueled it.
Perhaps trying the low fuel strategy, but yeah, unfortunately, if you've got a box, it's not really paying off. I'd assume that it's what it's for. Damage not incredibly high for this development series, so you can take a pretty big whack and press on. But
what Nathan Higginson has made another unforced error. Sorry to cut you off. Coming out of the hairpin, he's just dropped it. So when he was looking at possibly getting himself into the top 5 if things went well, is now back down to 8th.
Yeah, frustrating night for Higginson. After eventually quite a good first race, but yeah, these last two just not going to plan for him. He's making errors that he can race better than that, but he's unfortunately just getting excited on the loud pedal. It's his specialty. It's really unfortunate for him. As Lockie Lock put himself right up to 3rd, I believe. So yeah, he's got lots of point gain for Lockie Lock tonight. over Higo.
Yeah, certainly digging himself a hole is Mr. Higginson. But all we can hope for now is that a few drives in front of him make mistakes. And he's able to get positions. Of course, making a move on Felipe will help as well. This is a form of damage limitation. But a couple laps to go. And
who's had a quietly successful race here, Lewis, is Darren Kemp. He's obviously started right at the front, but he's in second, and he's in second healthily.
Yeah, he's had a solid run tonight as we continue looking at this battle between Felipe and Rody. Not being the fastest out there, but he's not made mistakes.
Ooh.
As we see, Higginson looked at, again, try to go around the outside. You can maintain the momentum, but if the driver on the inside makes a mistake or runs wide, you're in a heap of strife. Going for the switchback. Up the inside into two. Felipe's going to try and hold on around the outside. We've seen drivers do that as well. But Higginson, despite the slide, able to hold on and goes back up to 7th once again. Albeit this time he's a good 6.5 seconds behind Brandon Dostal, as opposed to the 2 or 3 it was the last time he was in this position.
Yeah, that without a major mistake, that's not really going to be a recoverable distance, I feel there, Lewis. So probably it's consolidate this position as it is now, try to pull away from the guys behind.
And there is a lot of guys as well. Taipan has edged up to the back of Felipe, and we've also got Justin Cecil there as well, and Ryan Smith a lap down with a new set of boots, probably a little bit quicker than all of them by the looks of it. Also, one thing I'm seeing here, just looking at the timing here, that gap between second and third has come down a bit, at 1.5 seconds or so, 31.9 to 32.6. But Kemp does have time on his side, but he definitely can't afford to make a mistake now.
Yeah, it's close enough that a major mistake will obviously lose him the position. But yeah, if he can just keep it on the black stuff for this last lap here, he'll be totally fine.
And Zach Brown quite fourth in this one, after getting ahead of Steve Warwick, who's now just trying to hold on to Brendan Dostal, who's had a pretty good round.
Oh.
He tries to undo all his hard work. Coming out of turn 3. He's right there if Steve makes another mistake here.
Yeah, you feel he's pushing hard here. He's really trying to close that gap to Warwick to see if he can make a lunge somewhere. He's got a bit of work to do, but he is pushing hard, and he's looked pretty good out there. But yeah, at this point, the tyres are not going to be on his side. They've seen their best, and they won't be the most grippy. So he'll be hoping to get to the end. But it'd be nice to get past Steve, but I feel it's bridged too far without a major mistake.
A bit of a lock up there for Steve. We'll just cut to our leader, who is coming out of the final corner. I do have my eye on Justin Cecil and Taipan, as well as Higginson and Felipe, who are all close together, and Matt Cecil and Cheese as well. But Bailey Hall will take the clean sweep, and pretty sure he's grand slammed it as well. I don't think anyone else has had a fastest lap or led a lap. And Darren Kemp, very solid night from him. P2 ahead of Lockie Lott. Zach Brown in 4th. Steve Warwick holding on to 5th ahead of Dostal in 6th. Good night from him. Higginson home in 7th. Felipe in 8th. He's got some positives to take from this, even with his mistakes in this one. Justin Cecil in 9th. Taipan will take 10th. He was in a group of cars. I think he was in that pack just a little bit further up the road. But yeah, he's dropped down. Matt Cecil in 11th. We did catch that moment he had. And Darren Lachlan will only just take the Super 3 victory, despite the drive-through. Reese McGillivray only a couple seconds back. In fact, a second and a half, with Rody there right behind him as well. So Rody did drop it and was a fair way away from Lachlan. So there may have been some a drama for Darren Lachlan in the dying laps there. Cheese home in 15th. Teglas in 16th. Melody Smith in 17th. Ryan Smith a lap down, of course, with that late pit stop with Hayden Cuppett. Christian Alvarez also retired that we didn't see, and Brian Walsh was an early retirement as well.
Yeah, well, there you go. 3 races done and dusted. A clean sweep, pole position, 3 race wins for Bailey Hall. The most dominant night he's had. Unfortunate nights for a couple of the, let's say, championship protagonists there in Higo and Cheese. Both of them really, well, sometimes victims of themselves and sometimes victims of circumstance. But yeah, both of them having an undesirable night towards their quest for top spots in the championship, and a very, very good night overall for Lockie Lock as well for his quest to become the Dev Series champion.
Yeah, he may not have won a race tonight, but in terms of the championship, he certainly won the night with both his rivals faltering, whether through bad luck or through their own, well, it has to be said, ineptitude at times. So he's going to walk away with a handy points gap after tonight. I would say barring penalties, but like I don't recall him running into anybody, so I don't think he's broken any rules. So yeah, he'll walk away handily in the lead of the championship with only a few rounds to go. Of course, we do have a special round for Bathurst at the end of the season, which means a lot of points will be on offer. But he's certainly in the box seat right now.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just going to look at getting some drivers up here, Lewis, so we can start conducting some interviews, because I've got a few people that I think would be interesting to hear from tonight, and like to bring a few of them up for a chat. But yes, it's been overall quite a good night of racing, really, Lewis. Minimal, I mean, some pretty average incidents overall, but still, one safety car, was it, or was it two throughout the night?
Just the
Not,
one,
not
I
a
believe.
terrible effort. Not a bad effort from the Dev Series drivers there in that regard, I think. So that's certainly good to see that largely the races ran smoothly.
Yeah, I think the circuit did help with that, with there being some big speed differentials between a few of the different groups meant that you didn't have all these cars as tightly packed together as what we've seen at other circuits, which can sometimes lead to some of these incidents. So, yeah, outside the one or two sort of obvious ones, yeah, we didn't really have any major sort of driving incidents that admins would be looking at by the looks of things, which is good to see. And yeah, really outside of first place, I mean every position was up for grabs throughout the night, so it's good to see. And hopefully we can see a little bit more of that, including first positions in the following rounds.
Always good to see good racing and clean racing. Not like first and foremost, getting it done cleanly is the way to go, and what we want to see here. I'm going to move over to some interviews if you're all right there, Lewis, with that. And I'm going to get it started early. I'll first start with Darren Kemp. Darren, how you going, mate?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate. Really good. I'd just like to thank my sponsors, the Alfred and Physio Fit Barracks. But I had a really good night. I wasn't a roadblock. I was actually aggressive. It was a new Darren. It's what happens when you give up smoking. How fucking good's that? Oops. Sorry.
You're all
I
good,
beeped
mate.
it.
Now,
I beeped it.
an excellent or reasonable qualifying. Probably not your best qualifying, but a qualifying that
No,
put
I'm
you
all
in,
right.
in a good enough position still to be challenging near enough the front. And you capitalised, getting podiums in pretty much all the races, I believe it was there. So it was
It had some good battles in that, actually. And we all left racing room and we battled the whole way. It was actually really enjoyable.
Absolutely. You've certainly found a bit of pace towards the end of the season. In fact, just towards throughout the whole season. To be fair, you've been quite quick at times. It's certainly good to see you racing hard, racing fair, and on the aggressive. That's wonderful to see, Darren.
It's a change of the books, isn't it?
Yes. The Kemp train
What?
is it going to be any longer? Who knows?
Oh,
But
not bad for an old fella.
no, you're doing fantastically, Darren. It was really, really good to see you racing up the front. You're having some really good battles throughout. Where, after you qualified, what was your mindset? Were you just eyes forward, looking to gun for it, or what were you thinking?
No, it was just let's just pick one off at a time, do it cleanly. I'm sick of getting penalties, and they're stupid penalties too. They're not even like taking people out penalties. So it's just be super clean and just one at a time, just focus one at a time, and it paid off for me tonight. It was good.
Fair, fair. Now you are a good couple of 100 points behind Cheese, roughly, before anything gets
Yeah.
applied here this week. Do you feel you're in with a shot at all to get
Nah.
towards like that top three, or are you just looking to consolidate fourth in the championship?
I said at the start of the season I'd be happy with top five. I'm sticking by that, and I'm just in there enjoying the racing. It's great.
Cool. Well, you're racing very well tonight, I think, Darren. Congratulations on an excellent night for you.
Thanks, and thanks to all the boys for racing tonight. It was really good, enjoyable, and thanks to the admin team for doing such a good job. Thanks.
All right, I'm going to move over to Super 3 here. I'm going to start with Darren Loughnane. Darren, how you going, mate?
A lot better than I was expecting to having raced at Sydney.
Yeah, some not bad results for you. Obviously, the emergence of Reese McGillivray in the Super 3 pack is again shaking things up. It seems next man up policy is almost what's happening. Uh, what's your mentality for the Super 3 Championship towards these newer drivers coming in that are showing a bit of pace? Are you looking at trying to beat them? What are you thinking?
Honestly, at this stage, my only focus is trying to beat Rhodey. Is The other guys have come in a bit too late to really challenge for the Super 3 title. And I know I have a fairly decent gap to him at the moment. I'm going to have to do some serious work to beat Rhodey, but that's my only goal at this point. And as long as I can finish in front of him, that's about all I'm aiming for.
No, fair enough. And tonight, in all three races, I believe you did finish in front of them. And of course, in the third race there, I believe you got the Super 3 race win. So congratulations for that. Um, So your whole goal is just to do your best, get past Rhodey. I assume move forwards in the championship as far as one can get.
Yeah, pretty much. I started this season. I didn't really expect anything. So after 2 or 3 rounds, and I sort of settled in. I was like, oh, I guess I can probably fight for Super 3 wins. And it just, yeah, I think I've got a bit lucky a couple times, put in a lot of practice, probably too much at some points, and just, yeah, doing whatever I can. I'm not really too worried about whether I do well or not, but it's a nice bonus when I do.
Cool, hey man. Great mentality to be attacking it with. Congratulations on your efforts tonight. All right, I'm going to move over to the other Super 3 combatant in here. That is Reese McGillivray. G'day, Reese. What's going on?
Oh, g'day, boys. It's good to be back.
Welcome back. You've shown a clean pair of heels in the Super 3 class for the last couple of race events at this point in time. An impressive debut, and you've backed it up with a couple of race wins in class tonight. How are you feeling?
Annoyed with that final race, to be honest. I just got a bit too eager on the start and ultimately paid the price, but good recovery. Got back up into P2 there at the end. I think one more lap I would have been battling with Darren for the win, and that would have been great to watch, but it is what it is. I'm happy with the night, but yeah, just annoyed with my start.
Yeah, of course, a bit of a dampener, but nevertheless showing pretty good pace in the Super 3 class. What's your goal with the championship? Are you just here to turn up, see how far you can get, or do you want to actually do your best in the back end of the season to move forward through the lower ends of the Dev Series rankings?
I think after Sandown, the last round there, mathematically, I am in the fight for third if I pull off top tens all season overall. But after tonight's race, I think that's gone out the window. So I've just got to change focus and see how many positions I can make up. Prep for next season, get to know how everybody races.
Absolutely. So you're a couple of races in now, and you're already starting to shake it up in towards the top 10 there. A couple of good results, I thought, in these first couple of races. How are you finding racing in the series so far?
Hit and miss. You really got to pick your battles. It is one of those races where if you don't know how people drive, you sort of either need to go aggressive or hold back a bit, and that's where I'm trying to find my feet, is trying to stay aggressive or back off and help the car and just not battle the Super 2 guys.
Well, I think you will get there. Obviously, a lot of these drivers have been around a while, and you'll learn how everyone drives in due time. But nevertheless, Reese, I thought a very good showing tonight from yourself. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Just like to give a big shout out to all the team sponsors, Toyota, our newest sponsor. They've been awesome coming on board with us, showing heaps of support. Panorama Graphics, again, with the beautiful liveries, and Delta S Productions, the Loose Wheel Nuts, and all the guys in the team. They've had a bit of a tough night tonight. So chin up, guys. Your time's coming.
Good words there, Reese. Now we're going to move on to our championship leader. Lachlan, how's it going?
Oh, it is going terrifically.
Now, I assume tonight the plan was just disregard Bailey Hall, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we didn't want to fight too much. I knew he had the pace over me, and I just wanted to steer clear of Higo, and just really hipped myself in those first few races. And as soon as I caught up to the back of Higo in that second one, he looped it, and I know I got a feel for him, man. Um, it it's bittersweet, you know, because we have such a good respective competition, and just to gain the lead like that was a bit, yeah, it's unfortunate, and I definitely think that Higo is, well, he's definitely capable of being far ahead, and hopefully he bounces back and this fight continues because it's really fun.
Yeah, well, I don't think the fight's over just yet. However, tonight, you qualified on the front row. You capitalized with that. You've got podiums basically every race. However, it's not been without a little bit of challenge and turmoil. You've been swamped at points in time. I thought that sorry to roast you a little bit. I thought your start was a bit average in the last race, and you got swamped in that first lap or two. But then you had the patience to come back. What were you thinking at that point in time with all these cars just banging through you in that first lap?
I was just trying to run my own race really, and take the opportunities that arose. But I got to say, Kempy and Steve, we had great battles. So top job, guys, and thanks for that, because that was some of the most enjoyable racing this year that I've had. So, and it is unfortunate in that last one, a little bit of contact at the final corner. I was going to back off down the straight because I ran really wide, and I thought I'd give the position back, but it seems he's just understeered and contact at the wrong point, unfortunately. So, but yeah, good racing, and they've definitely got pace to be up the front. So, I look forward to battling them more to the end of the season.
Right. Well, from here, I imagine it's just eyes forward, press on towards the end of the season. See if you can continue placing well and wrap it up, hopefully, for yourself towards the end of the year.
Thank you.
Cool, congratulations, Lockie. Now we are going to move over to, well, the obvious winner of this round here tonight. A stonking lap for pole position there. Absolutely floored everyone's times, not just the evening, but over the whole week as well. Bailey Hall, hey, how you going?
Yeah, g'day, Snipes. Yeah, thrilled with tonight. It's been fantastic.
It's been I feel a little bit lonely for you tonight though, which is sometimes wonderful. Just get to drive your own race, but while the madness and battles have been happening behind you, you've peacefully almost been able to drive away. There has been a little bit of battles off the start though. Are you finding the starts tough to work around? I notice you're a little bit back in your pit box sometimes.
Yeah, I get a little bit nervous where I am in the pit box. I know last week I got a warning from the officials for being too far back in my pit box. So of creeping my way forwards towards the line, it's just something I've got to continue to work on over the next few weeks, and eventually I'll learn what that line is.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll get there. Now we're going to quickly go back to qualifying with your Jeepers. It was a quick lap. I can't even remember the exact time, but it was very, very quick. When you said it was a point 0.7 or something. Jeepers Creepers. When you said it, we called it in commentary. Lewis said in commentary that you could just park it up with what you put out of 29.759. That's what it was. Fastest lap of the whole week. Were you when you put that out, were you feeling pretty safe, or did you just want to keep pushing for more?
Look, I knew Lockie was out there having a crack, and I knew he's got the pace, and he's shown throughout the week that he can keep up. Um, so I decided to have one more crack. I had enough fuel in the car to have one more lap, and I think I was about maybe 2.5 tenths up, coming out of the hairpin and near the last sector. So I was pretty wrapped, but unfortunately I had a bit of a problem, and that lap went. But look, just pleased to be out there turning laps. To be honest with you, it's been great for sure, and look, taking 3 wins is a bonus.
Yeah, no doubt. Seemingly unchallenged at this point in the Super 2 field. You're certainly setting the pace since you have arrived only a few rounds ago, realistically. So, congratulations on just an excellent night overall, Bailey.
Yeah, thanks, Snipes. I want to thank you and Lewis and the ASR team for what you guys do, putting on an event for us all. It doesn't go unnoticed, and you guys do a ripper job. And I'd just like to thank Rocket Science, Hybrid Racing Simulations, Lotus Mechanical Repairs, and Civil Force for the work they do, making the car look good.
It certainly does, mate. It certainly does. Once again, congratulations on a clean sweep tonight. A massive effort from yourself. And congratulations to all our podium getters and runners on largely a pretty good night overall. And with that, Lewis, I'm going to hand it back over to you for the evening. I will say goodbye to you, the audience, and drivers rewatching this tomorrow or whatnot. Thank you. I hope you've enjoyed it. Have a good one.
All right, thanks for the interviews, Snipes, and of course, well done to all the drivers that did make it in to podium positions in their respective classes, and to our race winners. That's Sydney Motorsport Park done and dusted, round 9. And we will move on. I don't have a graphic for you, but just going off information on the Discord, which I think has been updated and is current, but I'll probably get yelled at by somebody, one of the other admins, saying it's not quite correct. But the next round will be Surfers Paradise, where whenever we've ran here at any point in time, it's been pure carnage and has completely thrown curveballs left and right. So that will be an interesting one. 3 races around that short circuit, 14 laps, and it has had a bit of work done to it. I believe it's even just about completely fresh from when we've raced in the past. So, so yeah, that'll be an interesting one for the drivers. Even though the layout itself should be fairly close to what they've driven in the past, it is a little bit different, a little bit more accurate than the one that we'd raced that in Enduro Cup last year. And then we have Pukekohe Park Raceway, the penultimate round of the championship, with Bathurst being the final round of the championship now. So the big one will decide the championship. And I know Higginson says in Discord that the championship's over, but if he can keep it clean for the final couple races and snag some results, you just never know going into the final event, which of course 16 laps around there. It doesn't sound like much on the lap count, but when you factor in that laps are 2 minutes long, and there will be pit stops in that one and the hard tyres, it will be a tough race for the drivers. 100 kilometres and a championship decider up for grabs in that one. Anyway, from myself, Lewis Wedding, and of course NZ Snipes, thank you for joining us for round 9 of the ASR Development Series from Sydney Motorsport Park. You can catch the next round on the 2nd, well, no, not the 2nd of September, the 23rd of September. Of course, next week we do have the Supercars Championship, the main ASR Supercars Championship from the Outworld Broadcasting channel on next Friday night. So check that out if you're not racing And yeah, from us in the box and from ASR, have a good one.